Hello and welcome to my YouTube channel, Climbinator1978 or 1978, whichever way you want to pronounce it. I'm sorry, I still got a bit of a dry throat, so if I do cough, it's not intended. Today we will be reviewing a YouTube free film called Scream 1981. It was officially released in cinemas in 1981. It was directed by Byron Quisenberry. It's not to be confused with the Wes Craven 1996 classic starring Neve Campbell. Although I have a theory it could one day be connected to it, and I'll get into that later on in the video. Anyway, this film has a notoriously bad reputation for being one of the worst slashers ever made. But is it really as bad as people say it is? I know I've done an earlier review on it on my YouTube channel, but I watched it again yesterday and I thought, is it really as bad as I think? Let's find out. See, Scream 1981 is notoriously bad because, by its reputation that is, because it has hardly any blood in this slasher film. Now, a slasher film with hardly any blood is not going to go down well, of course. But is there any redeeming charms to it? Well, let's get into the review. I mean, there has to be something, of course, doesn't there? Anyway, the film starts off in this apartment where we get this slow panning shot, slowly going across, and I mean slowly, really slowly going across this mantelpiece. It has a really creepy background music piece. And we slowly see these three figurines, the ones that you see on the mantelpiece shot right now. They are the butcher, baker, and candlestick maker from the nursery rhyme. And then you get a fade-in shot where you hear these two of the figurines being beheaded. They are the baker and the candlestick maker that have been beheaded. And the butcher one has blood on his meat cleaver. Then you get a close-up shot of the butcher and the pupils in his eyes move and the screen blacks out with the title card. You then get this shot of the Rio Grande, and some rafters are going down it. Now, this is where the infamous title music comes in. Oh boy, it's bad. It's bad. It sounds like something out of Starsky and Hutch. Yep. And you get a lot of horrible ADR right here. But if you pay close attention to it, you actually get seeds being planted for the events of the film being foreshadowed. Like, you can actually hear one of the female characters say, it feels like we're entering another world. Anyway, the rafters eventually get lost. And so they put their rafts up by the shoreline and they walk up a mountain and they find themselves going into an abandoned wild western town. Or at least they think it's abandoned. And they decide to hitch there for the night. And, you know, when you see the town itself in the film, it actually, you know, for a film that was made on, I think it was $1 million, it actually looks pretty good. Yeah, the set. the scenery actually looks really good. It's got that atmospheric feel and vibe to it, but anyway, you get what should be introductions to the characters. Sorry to tell you this, people, but this is where the film suffers. The characters are paper thin, and the two blokes you see right here are the opening kills. Yep, they're the opening kills in the film. So if you're thinking that you're going to get this like couple of opening kills that are, a younger cast, which usually adds that sense of intensity in the film, you're wrong. It's basically a couple of Victor Meldrews. I thought, many years ago, I thought I was beginning to watch a parody film here. But anyway, I digress. There's about 14 characters that we're introduced to in this slasher film. And it should have been just half of that, really. Because when you have that amount of characters, there is way too many characters to focus on. And therefore, character development suffers. Anyway, during daytime, the scenery looks nice, but it's nighttime that the events begin to actually unfold. And it takes a painstakingly long time for that to happen. Anyway, one of the old fellas gets killed, and it's his body is found by this woman here called Janice. And his death, like most of the others in the film, is, it happens off screen. Yeah. And you just hear this woman go screaming her head off. And this, of course, awakens the other campers, the other rafters. And they all go dashing to her aid. And you see them wake up as the screen blacks out. And then the screen fades in. And you just see her sat there in the saloon with the others. And that was her face, by the way, throughout the rest of the film. But the others say that they're going to try and come up with a plan to protect themselves and root out who the killer is among them. They just sit there and do nothing throughout pretty much the rest of the film. And it's an hour and 22 minutes. They sit there pretty much talking and doing nothing throughout the rest of the film, kind of like this guy here called Bob, played by Pepper Martin. And you may recognise him because he is the guy who played the truck driver who beats up Superman in Superman 2 with Christopher Reeve. Yep. And if you think that he's playing a heroic type in this film, no, he isn't. He's playing the same kind of arsehole type. Yep. And he's pretty much playing the leading man here. Yeah, someone I really want to root for. Not. Anyway, everyone has the same facial expression throughout the whole movie. It's like, basically, they're not scared, but they also don't want to be there. It's just like, oh no, we're all at risk of being killed. Oh no, it's just like any other day, really. Oh no. That being said, the film is drenched in atmosphere, and I hope one day it will get remade. Anyway, on to the next day in the film, and the rafters find that their rafts have been taken away from them and destroyed. So Bob decides they could just walk out of here. But one of the tour guides says, you can't. The nearest town is about 30 miles away from here, even if you go by the main road. And I was like, you could literally just walk, you idiots. But, yeah, something happens to one of the tour guys later on, and it kind of alludes to the fact that no matter how much they try to get away from the town, once you enter the town, that's it, you can't escape. So, yeah, there's a bit of Freddy Krueger-ness there before Freddy Krueger was a thing, really. But I'll give it that. But they don't really focus on that. And as you can see, we got a good range of characters here in terms of age ranges, and you could have played on that. But no, we have to focus on Bob, don't we? And I mean, he's such a likeable guy. I mean, he's the sort of bloke that looks like he will punch you in the face for complimenting him. I mean, look how he treats his wife. Any a lovely bloke. Sorry, I've got a bit of a dry throat. I mean, she's not crying. She's just absolutely over-enthralled by his compliments. Ah, bloody hell, if anyone thought I was being serious there, blinking bellends. Oh no, wait a minute, my sarcasm is turning me into Bob. Oh no. Anyway, better be prepared for this goon, because Lou is the focus of this movie, and he's a complete moron. He's meant to be the comic relief of the film, but he is just so goddamn irritating. Like, for example, at one point he walks by one of the buildings in the town. The door mysteriously opens, and he looks at the doorway that's opened, and then he looks at his friends, and he does it about 5 more times before he goes in. He goes in and he sees that there are bodies of the deceased covered up in there. And he checks the building out to see if there's anyone suspicious inside. But then the door closes and locks behind him. And he's going, help, help, help. And then he hears breathing. And as he turns, he sees that one of the bodies in the body bag is actually breathing. And he's like, help, help, help. The door then unlocks and he's able to get out, and he goes, help, help, help. And he's flapping his arms and running around like Jar Jar Binks from episode 1, but then stops halfway across the street and just walks on like normal. And when his friends say, what was all that about? And he just Lou just replies with, oh, nothing. Plus, also, at one point, he kicks up a fuss when he's walking around at night. He kicks up a fuss when a spider starts to crawl up his arm. He goes, aah! But near the end of the film, when he sees a bloke get decapitated with a scythe, he's like, ew. Really? That will never come out now. Ugh. The man is a complete moron. I mean, there's one part where, in the saloon, where the others are saying towards one of the witnesses, they're saying about one of the witnesses that she's in complete shock, she'll never get over it. Lou says to his buddy or relative, Andy, who's also a complete jerk, Lou says to Andy, I need to go to take a leg. I thought, what the That is not how people talk, even in these situations. Oh. This idiot gets on my bloody nerves every time I see him. And yet they make him the final bloke. They make him the hero. Yeah. I said a lot of bad things about Bob earlier, but I'd much rather have him as the hero than this idiot. Christ! I mean, I don't know what it is about Lou, but why did they have to make him such a complete moron? In fact, you could place a Teletubby in there and the film would be better. Oh, and you best be prepared for the emotional bondness Lou has with that cap. Because there's one scene where his cap goes missing and he just finds that he needs to be with his cap. Oh, yeah. So you can forget about Captain America. You can forget about Captain Planet. You got Lou and his cap. Yep. Come on, MCU. Bring Lou and his cap into the MCU. Anyway, about 45 minutes into the film, you get these motorcyclists who originally were going to be driving dune buggies. They had nothing to the film. And in an hour into the film, you get Woody Strode. The ever-awesome Woody Strode. Now, it's important that you listen to what he says in this film, because he only has 3 minutes, but he has a 3-minute monologue, and it's important. It's bizarre, but it makes sense. What he says is this: when he was alive, when his character was alive, that is, he was on a ship that sailed round the Horn 35 times. The captain of the ship was crazy enough to do it. And by the time he did the 35th tour, he was completely insane. But the captain of the ship set the town up. He built it. Plus, also, by the time the captain went insane, he executed Woody Strode's character, who was a sailor on the ship. This led to the captain being hung for his crimes. But before he got hung, he swore he would get his revenge on all of the townspeople. and he would place a curse on the town. This is exactly what happens. So, basically, Woody Strode's character, Charlie Winters, has said that he's going to be overwatching the survivors. And this is where the third act is kicking in, and it's a muddled mess. Yeah. Because Charlie then leaves the scene, and you then get the bloodless bath, but when Comic Relief Bozo Lou is about to get killed after being knocked unconscious by the killer, Charlie then turns up and saves the day by shooting the killer, who turns out to be the ghost of the sea captain. So you basically got good ghost versus bad ghost. Now, we never see the ghost of the sea captain apart from that painting back in the apartment, but we see it at the very end of the film. And, yeah, there was something that I noticed that was unusual about that finale. Oh, and we do get one on-screen death in the third act. It's when Axe gets lobbed into someone's head. No blood, though. It's as dumb as it sounds. But, yeah, there's a couple of other deaths in that third act as well. And yet, the thing is, this film is one of those films that has loads of atmosphere but no character development. And you may be wondering why that's the case, but it's simply because there are too many characters. Apparently behind the scenes, director Byron Quisenberry kept getting asked by the cast who the killer was. He said he didn't know. Anyway, on to my theory on who the actual killer was in the film. I actually think it's the character on the right, the woman, Marion. And I have a reason for that. As Lou is trying to shield everyone that's inside the building from going outside the building, he is surrounded by a number of people. One of them being Marion. He's trying to block them off from going outside after seeing what happened to Bob. But the thing is, Lou gets dragged outside, he is knocked unconscious, and he's about to be impaled with the scythe when the ghost of the sea captain is shot. And then Charlie Winters vanishes, and a car pulls up with an elderly man and an elderly woman who I think are people, I think they are staff from a nearby hospital, like a mental health hospital. And they've come out in their night garb. Because when they approach, it is only Marion who comes into the doorway. There's no one around her, no one even in dark silhouette outlines. There's no dark silhouette outlines of anyone else. It is just Marion. And the reason why I think she is the killer of all the deaths in the film is because I think all the other supporting characters that we have seen are merely personalities that she has built up in her head. I think she is someone with severe split personality and schizophrenia disorders. And therefore, I think she may have a link to either Roman Bridger or Billy Loomis from Scream. With Roman Bridger, I think she may have been a patient in a psychiatric hospital that he may have done research on when he was, stepping into the horror genre, when he was training up to be a director or something in Hollywood, in the Screamverse. Or with Billy Loomis, she could be a younger version of Nancy Loomis, going under a different name. So, yeah, this is just my theory on Marion. She could be someone who could later emerge in the Screamverse. And despite how bad this movie is, I think in a way it should be acknowledged in the Scream timeline of today. Because it was one of the earliest slashers to try the whodunit angle. And for that, it does deserve some credit. It just went about it the wrong way. But, yeah, it does have its charm. And there's also some funny moments in the film. But overall, I recommend that if you're going to get it for yourself, get it for free on YouTube. Or if you're going to rent it, just rent it off any streaming service. Do not buy it with money, because it's not worth it. But some of the extras, some of the making of and extras on the DVD that I had from about 10 years ago, they're probably on YouTube as well. It does have its charm, like its 80s slasher charm, but it's just there's so much wrong with it at the same time. I just hope one day, though, it does get acknowledged in the Screamiverse, because if it wasn't for this film Scream, then would the Scream movies actually exist today? Possibly, but who knows? I mean, the Scream movies that we know of today were pretty much created because of the Gainesville Ripper case. But who knows? I mean, perhaps maybe this film helped the writers to come up with an idea on the whodunit angle. I don't know. Don't quote me on that. It's just a theory. But anyways, I hope you all enjoyed this video. And if you want to check it out, as I say, check it out on YouTube. It's completely free. And be prepared. It does have a lot of product placement in there. Mostly Dr. Pepper. That's one thing I forgot to mention in the review. But it is worth watching on a wet weekend afternoon. And I hope you enjoy my channel, and as we're counting down to Scream, there will be lots more videos coming up, and also I hope you enjoy.